thing and kick me out a time code daily, and then I sit down and watch it in my office or whatever and make time code notes, and then go into an edit session with some time code numbers. I don't edit myself, like hands-on myself. I go in and work with an editor, and I like him to give me his ideas on editing. Then I have time code numbers I want him to look at and say, and so I can see if my idea is kind of working. But that's how that's kind of my process. These cameras pose a little more of a, I don't want to say a problem, but another step in that they shoot files, and so those files have to be incorporated, and then they got to be handled one way or another. But one thing I would say is, before you shoot anything, begin with the end in mind. Is it going to end up on a big screen? Is it going to only end up on a tiny screen? Or is it going to be like in a theater for a trailer? You got to remember all that stuff. Before I shoot, I go to my editing house and talk to my editor and talk to the post-production supervisor, essentially, and say, here's what we're going to do now, because I need to know, and I have to have in my head what settings I need to have on the camera and what not to do, what speeds I don't want to hit. It's just a great idea to begin thinking with the end in mind, and then go to the people who are going to have their hands on this stuff, because you don't want to take footage into them. They say, well, we can't do that because you shot at this speed, or you did this, or whatever, or your pans are too fast, or whatever. Your post-production process is probably a little different.
I think the Canons and the Panasonic shoot slightly different flavors of file. They both record, to a card of some sort, and essentially, I think the Canons record QuickTimes.
Yeah.
And again, since I don't own them, I think is it an MPEG-2 sort of QuickTime, or what is the?
It's an H.264.
It's an H.264. Oh, that's right. Yeah, H.264. And the Panasonic of mine records the ABC HD codec. So on my end, I think I have to go through a little more hoops than this is for Macintosh people. Since Mac is QuickTime, I think the Canon is a little, you might still, I guess, have to transcode because you don't want to edit an H.264, probably transcode to ProRes or whatever, and that's what I do too. There's a log and transfer tool inside Final Cut Pro as opposed to the regular log and capture tool. And I have to turn my ABC HD files into Apple ProRes files, so that's kind of an extra step. But
is that time consuming? Is that
no, not really.
Okay.
I mean, not any more than digitizing old school, really.
Okay.
I mean, so once they're transcoded into ProRes, then they're ready to edit, and I don't have any problems with them.
Is that transcoded as you dump them from the card into Final
Well, usually
Cut?
what I do is you plug your camera into the laptop or your computer, and then once that boots, you drag and drop the entire file, the entire directory structure onto a hard drive so that you save the original directory structure, and that's kind of your backup. And then in Final Cut Pro, you open that up into your log and transfer and turn those into ProRes files. So then you've got, on your hard drive, you got your original ABC HD files that are, just for backup, and then you've got your ProRes files. So it's nice to, and then that's going to bore you with.
Do you have chips that you're swapping out, or are you dumping it right off the camera onto your hard drive and then?
Yeah, pretty much mine records to SD cards, and I think so
Mine's
do these, and
compact
some
flash
have
card.
compact flash. So
Compact
it's
flash.
SD.
Yeah, SD cards or compact flash cards. So you either just hook the camera up, or you get a card reader, and then you copy it over, and then you just reuse, you reformat and reuse your cards, and then somehow make backups of your footage. So that's pretty much how it works.
And I use like 16 and 32 gig cards, so I can put a lot of footage on there.
What's megabytes per second do you need? Like, do you need is 30 like lowest, or do you need 60 megabytes per second?
I just know for the SD cards, you need to use class 6 or higher.
Yeah, but what about for the CS?
I forget about that.
30?
You need as fast as you can get. I know that.
Does the 5D use compact flash or SD?
Boy, I'm not sure.
Do you know how fast it needs to be?
I use 533X, whatever the fastest I can find.
Okay.
Yeah.
People set it slow or something to get problems.
Drop frames.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know all the high definition formats on the P2i are record at 5.66 megabytes per second roughly, and the SD are all at 2.6 megabytes per second. And no matter what the res is, the HD is the same data rate. And it supports SDFC as well. so
Right,
you
right.
can do 2 terabyte cards
Right, yeah,
in the future.
And not all Class 6s are made alike, so.
No.
right.
Yeah.
so
I've
you wanna
had
go
good
to
luck
10.
with just the generic Micro Center brand, you know, the kind when you go to Micro Center and you're up there at the cash register. I bought those and haven't had any problems, but,
Well, my 16 gig Micro Center card does not work in that camera. His 16 gig Micro Center card does.
so
I've heard
maybe
of that.
there's,
Yeah.
you might get, it's like a roulette, okay.
Yeah.
My compact flash card is 133 times, if that means anything to you. I just like it the fastest I can afford. But I forget how that translates into millibytes or whatever.
I guess we probably want to get just a basic Q&A. There was one thing I wanted to mention, just.
But then I want to discuss this with you and everybody.
Okay.
Where you can either buy it now or you can wait. Where is this all going to lead? With TV shows, with Hollywood? The whole thing today just really shocked me that that final episode was shot. And if those guys are doing it, it's coming. It's just coming because it's going to happen. So I'd say jump in and get some kind of camera and start using it, get familiar with the format, because the traditional DPs that are in Hollywood and wherever, if they don't know these things, they're going to be left out of some jobs. And it's like one Pro Photo or something magazine had an article on the guy, the ASC cinematographer who shoots 24. You see that? And he's shooting the Mark II, and it's like on short films and stuff, and he's got a big rig on it and all that. But here's this like 70-year-old guy with little glasses behind this camera.
Yeah.
And so that showed me that the smart guys are knowing all these cameras and using them. So you better, if you're going to work, you better get to know one camera or another. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
Well, the DP that was on the latest Terminator film has been doing
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Shane Hurlbush.
Yeah.
Hurlbut,
Known as the guy
visuals.
that got yelled at by Christian Bale.
Yes, he was. Oh, yeah, that's right. And he has a great website about everything he's doing right now.
Oh, he
Yeah,
does?
he's a huge fan of
yeah.
these cameras.
Oh, okay.
They're even doing such things as mounting it off the helmet and giving point of view.
Yeah, no. So what do you think? Movies going to be shot with these?
Well, I don't know if you knew about it. Here's an interesting thing, and I almost hesitated to bring it up because it almost makes this whole seminar kind of null and void.
Oh, great.
But on last Sunday, Panasonic announced a new video camera called the AF100 that's essentially just like an HVX 200 or a HPX 170 or whatever, but it uses a 4/3 mount sensor. It's basically like taking my camera and an HVX 200 and putting them together. So it's going to have time code, XLR inputs, HD SDI output, HDMI output, and the whole menu structure of the Panasonic, but with the ability to do interchangeable lenses, and it keeps this mount, which means all my lenses that I don't have to sell. Like they're all going to work.
Which
and
is
it's
a big
like
deal.
less than No, it's less than $6,000. But if you consider the fact that when the HVX 200 came out, it was what, like about the same price, and that the red is still X amount of thousands of dollars, and that just 5 years ago, like an Arri D21 was $210,000. I'll pay $5,000. Like, I mean, I'm middle-aged. I've got a job. I'll put it on the credit card. Like, I'll do it. So,
I'm with you.
so all the hoops that like I'll keep this as a V camera, but like some of the, and again, so for entry level, $5,000 is too much. Which these are amazing, but like the way technology's going, all these hoops that we've talked about as far as sound and maybe the Jello effect and just the ergonomics of handheld, all that stuff's just going to kind of be solved here very soon. But in the meantime, these are fantastic, and I'm sure, they're not going away. And the one thing that these do have an advantage that won't go away is that their size. So if House is shooting the 5D because they can get into sets without the whole rig, that's why these are great. And and the voyeuristic aspect that nobody knows you're shooting. So it's great for documentary. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yes, a couple of the shots